Alonzo Robinson. Alonzo Robinson might not be a name you've heard before, but he was one of the most notorious cannibal killers in early 20th century America. Born around 1895 in Cleveland, Mississippi, little is known about his early life aside from his impoverished background. As an adult, he stood an imposing 6'4" and weighed 240 pounds, an intimidating presence well-suited for someone capable of extreme violence. However, he didn't start out as a serial killer. His first arrest came in 1918, at age 23, for sending obscene letters to a local woman. During his transport to jail, he escaped, though he was wounded by a bullet in his shoulder. Years later, in 1926, using the alias James H. Coiner, he moved to Ferndale. Around that time, decapitated women began appearing in the city. Authorities immediately suspected Robinson, a Newtown resident, but lacked sufficient evidence to charge him. By 1927, Alonzo was convicted and sent to the Indiana State Penitentiary in Michigan City, Indiana, for stealing the body of a young girl from a local cemetery. While incarcerated, he was questioned about the decapitated women cases but cryptically replied, "I could tell you a lot of things you'd like to know. A lot of things about murders and murderers, but I'll die first." After serving 8 years, he was paroled in June 1934. He then returned to Cleveland, Mississippi, where he resumed sending obscene letters. The exact contents of these letters remain unknown. One letter was sent to a woman in Indianapolis, but while postal authorities were investigating, Alonzo had already moved on and taken 2 more lives. On December 9, 1934, he broke into the home of Aurelius B. Turner, his pregnant wife, and their 2 children. Mr. Turner was sitting and reading a newspaper when Alonzo struck him with a hammer and shot him. According to Alonzo, he also hit Mrs. Turner about 5 times. He then mutilated both corpses and took some of Mrs. Turner's flesh. According to some reports afterwards, he struck one of the children over the head and left them for dead, but the other child in the crib was left unharmed. Just over 1 month later, on January 12 of 1935, Alonzo was arrested by Shaw, Mississippi authorities who traced his letters to his post office box. Before I continue, I want to remind you that only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Now let's move on with the video. While he attempted to reach for his gun, he was overpowered by deputies and ultimately, the 40-year-old killer surrendered. Searching his pockets, officers found more obscene letters in Mr. Turner's pocket watch. Even more grim was the discovery of a packet of human hair the same color as Mrs. Turner's plus human flesh that had been salted and cured and had bite marks on. Following his arrest, Alonzo was questioned once again about the decapitated women who were found in Ferndale. This time, the questioning came because authorities had uncovered a trunk belonging to him in Ferndale, which had contained the heads of 4 women. The 40-year-old freely admitted that the trunk was his but denied the killings, claiming that he'd taken the heads while he'd been grave robbing. Alonzo was also questioned about the murder of the Turners. He admitted to being responsible for this too and told authorities he had an impulse to kill somebody. Flesh from Mrs. Turner was reportedly later found in Alonzo's house. After a 1-day trial, Alonzo was sentenced to death. His charges included cannibalism as well as murder. He was then sent to a jail in Jackson, Mississippi for safekeeping where he was guarded by 200 men. On March 5, 1935, Alonzo was executed by hanging at Bolivar County Jail, with 203 National Guardsmen standing watch outside during the event. Witnesses say he smiled as the hood and noose were placed over his head. The true number of his victims and the full extent of his cannibalistic acts will probably never be known. His case remains difficult to investigate and is relatively obscure, leaving much of his life and crimes shrouded in mystery. Nevertheless, the boldness with which he committed his crimes marks him as a chilling figure, even though we may never fully understand the scope of his terrifying legacy. Moving on to the next case. Aslan and Noor's family. Aslan and Noor's family relocated to the United States from Iraq when she was just 4 years old. Her parents, Fayleh and Siam al-Maleki, had 7 children, with Noor being their eldest. Her name, meaning God's light, reflected her heritage. Though she fully embraced American culture, she maintained a strong connection to her Iraqi roots. Fluent in Arabic and identifying as a Muslim like her parents, Noor still chose to move out of her family home in early 2009, not for the first time. This move followed a clash over her lifestyle choices, including wearing tight jeans, makeup, dating, modeling, and her desire for independence. Many of Noor's photos, taken from her Facebook and MySpace profiles, were widely shared across numerous websites. The photos revealed a beautiful young woman with long black hair and a somewhat melancholy expression. She may have felt self-conscious about her braces, as she rarely smiled in the pictures. However, her friends described her as consistently cheerful, with a playful and sharp sense of humor that helped her get through tough times. At school, she was known as a fun-loving student who easily made friends. She often wore a t-shirt featuring the school mascot, a baby demon in a diaper. Tennis was her favorite sport to play and watch, and she sometimes mimicked a silly Keanu Reeves voice for fun. Her style included flowing tops from Forever 21 paired with dark, jewel-embellished pants. She frequently texted and called her friends, often greeting them with, "Dude." In many ways, Noor was just like any other typical American teenager, but behind the scenes, she faced a much darker reality at home. She was a slave and was often left to take care of her 6 younger brothers. Fayleh al-Maleki, Noor's 49-year-old father, was strict and bossy. He thought it was wrong for her to hang out with guys, wear jeans, or put pictures of herself on MySpace. She had to do what she was told or risk getting hit. For Noor's father, the only time her life would ever change was when she married the man he chose for her in Iraq, where he was born. Though Noor had a different plan for herself, she wanted to become a teacher, marry the man she loved, and most of all, make her own decisions. She had lived in the US for 16 years. Different of Noor's friends have different stories about what happened, but it's clear that they planned to get married. Friends say that Noor's father got tired of her being independent and talking to American guys, so he and her mother told her they had to go to Iraq to see a sick family member to trick her into going, to marry her off. Noor didn't find out the real reason for their trip until they got there. It's not clear if there was a wedding or not. Some of her friends say she only went to an engagement party, while others say they think she got married even though she didn't want to. Others say that Noor could have chosen any of 5 brothers, but her parents didn't like the one she picked, so the wedding was cancelled. According to police records, Noor's parents said that there was a marriage. No matter what happened, Noor moved back in with her family in Arizona after a few months without a husband. Friends say she missed her younger brothers and that her parents needed help taking care of them. The Alley House is in a neighborhood in Phoenix called Paradise Views. The fact that it looks like a nice place to live says that the family was at least trying to live the more realistic parts of the American dream. A company in California hired Noor's mother to help train American troops for the cultural differences they would face in the Middle East. It seemed like an odd job for her to have since she was having a hard time being such an important person in her own daughter's life. In the months after Noor came back from Iraq, things were very tense in the al-Maleki home. Noor took good care of her brothers and did all the work she needed to do for her high school diploma. But by May 2008, things were really bad for the family. This was a picture of Noor's father with some male friends that he found on MySpace. He didn't like it. She started talking about moving out because things were getting so bad. One time, Noor took the family car to see a cousin. When she got back, her dad claimed the car was stolen. She left the car on the side of the road and walked away when she found out what he had done. Police records show that Noor's father wanted to bring criminal charges against her to teach her a lesson. He told the police that she was bringing shame on the family and that the fact that she was moving out didn't look good. She did move in with a friend in the end, but she gave up after having several run-ins with her father and finding out that her mother was casting spells on her foster family. Noor's 20th birthday in February 2009 was the last straw. Another fight with her family. This time, in the middle of the night. She called a friend to come get her. In her pajamas, Noor ran out the door carrying a purse and, strangely, a roll of gift wrap. Her father chased her across the yard. The friend ran off as Noor jumped into the back seat. That night, Noor moved in with a friend who had picked her up. She later called the cops to keep her safe while she got her things from her family's house. Noor got her own flat in the February. They bought her a new mirror and a cloudy TV on Craigslist for $25 with the help of her friends. Noor had to work hard to make ends meet. When Noor's parents found out where she was working, they started showing up and telling her she had to move back home. So she got a job as a waitress at Applebee's across town. When they showed up there too, she had no choice but to quit that job too. She had to go back home again because she had no way to make money. That summer, in June 2009, there was the last big fight. When Amal Khalif, a family friend of many years, woke up, she saw Noor sleeping in the family van that was parked in the yard. Noor said her parents hit her. Amal, who has 4 kids, took her in. Noor's family felt the worst when they found out that their daughter had chosen to live with another Iraqi family instead of their own. In the middle of the night on July 20th, Noor's parents broke into Amal's house and started banging on her bedroom door. Amal made a 911 call. After that, Noor's dad started bothering the family all the time. Riken, Amal's husband, told him that Noor could live anywhere she had chosen. Police reports show that he said, "This is America. This is the freedom we have." Over the next few weeks, things got even more complicated when Noor started dating Amal's son, Marwan. He told Noor's mother that something bad would happen if she didn't leave the house when he found out. Noor asked for a protection order, but the paperwork never seems to have been finished. He or she sent a text message to a friend. "Dude," she wrote on October 20th, 2010 at 1:06 p.m. "My dad is here at the welfare office." Noor hadn't seen her since she moved out of the family home in Glendale months before. Noor is 20 years old. He scared and surprised her at the same time. She was sure he wouldn't stop until he had full power over her life again. Not long ago, Noor sent her text message from a Peoria office of the Arizona Department of Economic Security. Amal Khalif, her new boyfriend's mother, was sitting next to her. She is 43 years old. Let me tell you that Noor had been living with Amal since she moved out of her parents' house after the last fight. Marwan El Abadi, Noor's boyfriend, and Amal's 19-year-old son also lived there. The Al-Maleki family, especially Noor's father, was angry and embarrassed about what was going on. From their point of view, a man's children belong to him and must live with him until he tells them otherwise. Amal went there to fill out a form to change her home for welfare benefits. She was born in Iraq too, but moved to the US only about 10 years ago. She spoke English so well that Noor had to help explain. That was the day that 48-year-old truck driver, Fayle Al-Maleki, who was out of work and had never been in trouble with the law, took a sad step towards joining the list of people who are accused of honor killing. The second text message Noor sent was to her best friend, Ashna Khan. It was sent after her father walked into the Department of Economic Security office. "Dude, I'm so scared shit," she wrote. "Shelter, and guess who walks in? My dad. Holy crap. I'm so shaky. Did he see you?" Ashna answered right away. Noor typed, "I don't think so. I can't even leave because his fat behind is right next to the door. It makes me laugh so hard I'm dizzy. I hate it when things like this happen to me." "Oh no. That's weird," Ashna said. "What's up with your parents anyway?" The answer from Noor was, "My dad is a manipulative jerk. I've honestly never met anyone so evil." She saw Falaise take a number at the bar, and then sit down next to her and Noor. Fayle was talking on his cell phone at the same time that his daughter was texting. He talked for 5 minutes with Ali, his oldest son, who is 18 months younger than Noor. Fayle also talked to a male cousin in Detroit and his wife, Siem, several times. Not long after he got there, Fayle left the DS office without saying anything. At 1:32, Noor sent Ashna her last text message. In it, she seemed calmer. "What time do you get out of work?" Noor asked her friend. "Are you going to have time to meet?" When Amal's number was finally called, she and Noor went to a desk to take care of business. That took a while, but Amal was still wary of Fele. She knew that he was mad at her for letting Noor move in with her. Before leaving the DS office with Noor, Amal wanted to be sure that Fele and his silver-gray 2000 Jeep Cherokee could park in the right spot. There was less worry in Noor's eyes. She only said that her dad might spit on her if he got the chance. They went to Amal's van because the coast looked clear, but Amal quickly found out that she had locked her keys in the car. She and Noor went to the DS office to get their bearings. Amal called her son and asked him to bring an extra key from their 20-minute away home. Since it was 85 degrees outside, Amal chose to wait right outside the front door of the DS office, but Noor was thirsty. She told them to get a cold drink at the nearby Mexican restaurant. Going west, they walked along the path next to the office and then crossed the lot. Amal saw what looked like a car coming right at them out of nowhere. She put up her hands in defense, as if she could stop what was going to happen. She could see Fele behind the wheel at that very moment. "What did you do when you saw him?" "Like this, I did." "No. No. 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 When did you first see him?" Close to me. He was driving so fast." The women were hit by the Jeep. It pulled Noor across a curved median and left her lying on the road, dazed and bleeding. The blow threw Amal Khalaf about 27 feet. She had a broken pelvis, a broken leg, and many cuts and bruises, but she was still awake. Police in Peoria later said they thought the SUV was going up to 30 miles per hour. Fale quickly left the parking lot and went west on Peoria Avenue. Noor was barely alive because she had broken many bones and had suffered terrible damage to her brain and spine. Amal quickly gave cops a possible reason. She said that the Al-Malikis were very angry with both her and Noor about how they were living now. What Amal said was that Fele was determined to show her and his daughter who was in charge. Fele talked on the phone with his wife, Sonali, and at least 2 other members of his extended family just minutes after leaving the scene of the crime. Fele had time to think about what he did when he ran over 2 helpless women, one of whom was his oldest child. He may have attacked them on the spur of the moment, or planned to do it. The Peoria police sent 3 officers to the Al-Maliki home at 5 p.m. on October 20th, which was about 3 hours after the attacks. Ali, Noor's brother, opened the front door. He was having a rough time. Ali used to be close to his sister, but the fight between Noor's parents had made them bitter, and the two hadn't talked in weeks. Ali later wrote in an email to his friends that he had started calling his sister bad names before they stopped talking. Detective Chris Bauhi was told that things at his parents' house had been getting worse ever since Noor came back from Iraq after leaving her planned marriage. Ali thought that his sister had brought shame on the Al-Maliki family. Ali said that Noor had been rude to their parents and to him since she got back, and she still didn't believe in traditional Iraqi values. The young man talked about his own problems with his father, whom he described as a heavy bettor who liked going to Indian casinos in the Phoenix area. Ali said that his mother, Siam, had been calling him for the past few hours to say that Noor had been hurt, but Ali swore to the police that he had no idea what had happened. Ali Al-Maleki talked to a TV reporter on October 24th about his sister. He said she was deliberately being rude to their parents. Ali said, "The boy Marwan Al-Abadi, that is supposedly her boyfriend now, I don't like him." He said, different cultures, different values to show the difference between the US and Iraq. What makes sense to one culture doesn't make sense to another. He did say, though, that seeing Noor in the hospital broke my heart. That shouldn't have to happen to anyone. Ali told them that his dad called the day before to check on Noor, but my mom yelled at him and hung up. It was around the same time that Ali was being questioned in Glendale that Fele Al-Maleki crossed the border into Nogales, Sonora. Fele quickly left his Jeep in a mall parking lot and checked into a hotel. At 5:30 he called Jamil, his cousin from Phoenix. There were 2 counts of aggravated attack against Fale, and Peoria police issued a warrant for his arrest the next day, October 21st. An officer called Noor's mother that same day. Siam Al-Maleki said she was on her way home from work in California. She said that all she knew was that there was an unspecified family trouble. Detective Baj then told Siam that her husband had driven his jeep into Noor and Amal on purpose and then run away. This woman is telling lies. This woman is filthy. Her family is dirty, Siam said about Amal Khalif. She said over and over that she hadn't talked to her husband about what happened. Bokeh told Siam that Noor was in very bad shape. As she spoke, she said she wanted to see her daughter right away, but the detective told her he was worried that Siharm and others could put Noor in even more risk. In a strange turn of events, she continued, "I'm a Muslim. We can't kill our kid." 2 days after the attacks, on October 22nd, a petrol station owner in Glendale told cops that someone had called in a prescription for Fayleh al-Maleki. Fayleh stayed on the run while his daughter, who was unconscious and not responding, clung to life. That same day, Peoria police found out that on October 22nd, a young man, probably from the Middle East, and a woman wearing a veil had picked up Fayleh's diabetes medicine. On October 26th, detectives went back to the al-Maleki home to talk to Ali and his mother Siharm again. The police had already looked at Fayleh's phone records, which showed that he had been talking to his family and other people around the time of the attacks. In her earlier interview with the police, Siam revealed that she had lied, but she still denied knowing where her husband was. Also, the mother and son said they got the medicine at the pharmacy, but Siam claimed she had thrown the pill bottles out of her car window even though she couldn't explain why. Siam once again said that Amal Khalif, a friend from the past, was to blame for what happened in the parking lot of the DES office. Siam said that Amal got what was coming to her because she is the head of a family full of crooks and drug addicts. The cops heard Siam say, "We have a good family." In the late evening, Ali al-Maleki met Detective Bouhay at a diner in Glendale by himself. He told new information about his father's call to him before the attacks while his mother was not around. Fayleh had just been to the DS office and seen Noor and Amal. Because he thought his dad was mad, he told Fayleh to go home. In the end, Fayleh called Ali to tell him that he had hit Noor and Amal with his car. Ali was told to man up by Fayleh during the talk because he would no longer be around. On October 27th, British Customs told U.S. Customs officials that Fayleh al-Maleki was being held in London. Fayleh arrived with his own identification and U.S. visa on a flight from Mexico City. Authorities discovered on a computer that he was wanted in Arizona. British Customs quickly placed him on a Delta flight to Atlanta, a city where the FBI often processes wanted fugitives. On October 28th, Mexican officials in Nogales contacted Peoria police. Fayleh's lost Jeep was found abandoned in a mall parking lot. During the investigation, police discovered hair, fibers, and human tissue on and beneath the vehicle's front bumper. On October 29th, Peoria officers Chris Baj and Jeff Balson confronted their suspect in Georgia. Fayleh al-Maleki waived his right against self-incrimination, allowing police to question him. Initially, he claimed that he had accidentally struck and killed the two women while walking past the DS office. He tried to sound reasonable when he asked, "If I want to kill my daughter, why would I kill her with a car? My daughter doesn't bother me. She has left the house before. I'll get a gun and kill her. I understand where they live. The car just got out of my hands." Police officer Bowie asked him if he was trying to scare the women. The cops slowly pieced together the unclear story. Fayleh answered, "I dropped everything because I was mad. I lost my mind." But he kept saying that there was no planning involved. Fayleh blamed Amal Khalif for what had happened just like his wife did. He said she took their daughter away from them. He claimed that he loved Noor and pointed out that his cell phone had several pictures of her on it. For some reason, Fayleh thought it was obvious that his daughter shouldn't have become so Americanized. He said it was wrong. There were 2 nights that Fayleh spent at the hotel in Nogales. While he was there, a stranger gave him $1,900 cash for his Jeep and agreed to make sure that some paperwork got to Ali. The officers told him this didn't make sense, but Fayleh wouldn't change his mind. It is much more possible that Fayleh's cousin Jamil al-Maleki or someone else connected to the al-Maleki family brought him the money, diabetes medicine, and a suitcase full of clothes that he had with him when British police arrested him. Detective asked Fayleh if his family supported him. The officer said that maybe his attack had brought back some of the honor that Noor was said to have lost because of the way she lived her life. Fele didn't answer directly, but he did say that he would help a friend or family member who was in the same situation. "That's our culture," he said. That's why Fale asked the agent what he would do if his own daughter was that bad at following rules. Bowie said that he wouldn't use a car to hurt his daughter. Soon, he asked Foley again if he meant to hurt the women. Yes, Fele Al-Maleki finally admitted he did. "If your house has got a fire in just part of the house," he asked, "do we let the house burn, or do we try to stop the fire?" Farley then said that his daughter-in-law was the small fire that he had to put out. He agreed not to be extradited and was put into the Clayton County Jail in Georgia. The Peoria officers took him back to Arizona on October 31st. A judge set Fele's bail at $5 million at his first court appearance in Phoenix later that same day. At 7 a.m., doctors at John C. Lincoln North Hospital said that Noor Al-Maleki was brain dead. Her family chose to end her life support on November 2nd. At 11:54 a.m., Noor's heart stopped beating. Her mother and brother Ali were among the people who were by her bedside. After some days, Fale was charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated attack, and leaving the scene of an accident by a Maricopa County grand jury. The violent death of Noor made headlines around the world, especially after a county judge called it an honor killing. If Noor Al-Maleki didn't follow her parents' rules and leave her planned marriage, her life would never be the same again. During her last year or so, she tried several times to live with her family, but failed each time. Fale and Saham thought she was bad because she left the Iraqi husband her father had picked for her, which made them look bad. It made Fale very angry when, after Noor came back from Iraq, he found a picture of her with some guy friends that seemed innocent. He thought that Noor shouldn't have been friends with guys other than her husband since she was still legally married to him. Noor stood up for herself, though. There were no racy pictures on Noor's page. There were just pictures of a young woman with a beautiful face. It was there that Noor met new people when she got a job as a server at an Applebee's. Someone who worked with her says that Noor quit when her father found out that she was working at a place that served alcohol. Fale and Saham may have had good reasons to be worried about where their daughter was living. According to the police, Marwan al-Abadi hit Noor while she was trying to stop him from fighting with an unknown third party at a male's house on August 6, 2018. The police said that Marwan broke and cut Noor's nose during the fight, but Marwan denied it. The charge of domestic abuse was still being worked on when Noor died. Amal Khalaf told Peoria police in December that she had taken in Noor because the young woman had nowhere else to go after leaving her parents' house. She said this while she was at home healing from her injuries. Amal stressed that her only goal had been to give Noor a safe place to live, not to help her get together with her son romantically. Amal said that a few days before the attacks, she had convinced Noah to talk to her parents. Fale Al-Maleki talked on the phone with his family a lot in the weeks after he was arrested and put in the Maricopa County Jail. The government recorded every word in secret. "How is she now?" Fale asked his nephew Jamil over the phone at one point. During the jail calls, Fale and his family spoke Arabic. The calls were later turned into English. "Who's she?" Jamil asked. "Noor," Fale replied. Jamil told him Noor died. Fale asked, "What?" "Yes. She's gone." Fale responded, "Now take care of yourself, brother." Fale said, "Talk to the lawyers and tell them it was not intended to be a murder." Fale told Jamil to talk to the American government through the Iraqi consulate. "Connected to honor and dishonor, and I don't know whatever," said he. "And an Iraqi is worth nothing without honor." Jamil agreed and said, "This is where the story starts." There was writing in newspapers about this problem, and there is writing about it now on the internet and all over the world. During phone calls with his wife, Falaise kept talking about the honor-killing theme. "Listen," he told CM, "have friends hold signs that say Iraqi honor is valuable across from the U.S. consulate in Iraq. There are signs that say, I'm not a thief, and that I didn't steal or break into someone's house. I'm sure you understand. And honor is the most important thing to an Iraqi. No one hates their daughter, But honor is valuable, and nothing is better than honor. We live in a tribal society that can't change, Fele said. I didn't kill someone on the street, but Noor wouldn't let me give her a chance. At one point, Saham scolded her husband for cutting in too quickly, which was probably a reference to the violent thing he did. Fele said, Saham, don't blame me. Can you just look at Amal and do nothing? It's not possible. Amal made her do it. Amal gave it to her, Soham said again. More information came out in another call between the pair. Noor is gone, Soham said through tears. My daughter died. My daughter is no longer here. Fele answered, I told you your daughter was already gone. No, Fele, his wife said. She's gone. My daughter is no longer with me, Noor is no longer there. And what about me? Fale replied. You are gone, his wife said in the end. It all began in January 2011. It was Arizona's first case of an honor killing that went to court. Amal Khalif spoke for the government. A jury in Phoenix, Arizona found an immigrant from Iraq guilty of second-degree murder for running over and killing his daughter. The case was called the honor killing by authorities who said the father did it because he thought his daughter had become too westernized. Fele al-Maleki, 50, was also found guilty of aggravated assault for hurting the mother of his daughter's boyfriend in an October 2009 incident in a suburban Phoenix parking lot. He was also found guilty of 2 counts of leaving the scene of an accident. Lawyers for the defense said that Noor's death and Amal Khalif's serious injuries were an accident. People say he only wanted to insult the older woman because al-Maleki thought she was helping his daughter stay away from her family. After being questioned by police, al-Maleki admitted that he did knowingly run her over, but the transcript of the taped interview showed that he kept calling it an accident. During the 4-week hearing, Khalif also spoke. He said that he ignored her screams to stop hitting her, and then ran over Noor al-Maleki, who was listening to an interpreter through headphones. Fele didn't show much emotion when the judge read the decision. Fele al-Maleki was given a 34-year prison term in April 2011. Ali al-Maleki and his family decided not to speak at the sentencing. As Maleki walked to the podium in front of the judge, his 2 lawyers stood on either side of him. He began by apologizing in a high-pitched voice to Amal Khalif, his family, and the judge. Al-Maleki said about Noor, I wish I were dead and not her. The expression of remorse Fele showed was starkly different from what he said to his wife on secretly recorded jail tapes after his arrest. These recordings revealed the couple focused solely on fabricating a story to ease his guilt. Judge Stanley took over 30 minutes to deliver the sentence, remarking to al-Maleki that this was the most difficult case he had faced during his 6 years on the bench. He also expressed frustration that the media had given the case a specific name, which had troubled him from the very beginning. I felt bad about it because it was an honor killing, the judge said. I don't understand how any faith could justify people taking the lives of others. Moving on to the next case. Carlin Ramirez. When people picture military personnel, they often imagine individuals skilled with firearms, and Carlin Ramirez was no exception. At 24, she was a U.S. Army soldier trained in martial arts, widely seen as capable and tough. But if that was the case, how could someone like Carlin end up shot and killed in her own home? The investigation into her death revealed a tangled web of unexpected twists and unanswered questions. Did she take her own life? Was someone else responsible? Her roommate? Her husband? Though these questions were eventually resolved, the case remained shrouded in mystery. Authorities spent critical time chasing misleading leads, unaware that the person responsible was hiding in plain sight. Carlin, the daughter of Jesus and Susan Ramirez, was born on April 10, 1991, in Beeville, Texas, and spent most of her life in Del Rio. Carlin was part of a close-knit family that included her 2 sisters, Laura and Roxana, and her brothers, Jesus Jr. and Jesus David. She attended Comstock High School and graduated in February 2009, which is where she met the man who would later become her husband. A proud resident of Del Rio, Carlin thrived outdoors and lived for adventure. Inspired by her father's love for the rodeo, she took up bull riding, deer hunting, and raising game roosters, all activities she found deeply fulfilling. Raised in a devout household, Carlin and her family were active members of Sacred Heart Catholic Church. Although she earned an associate's degree, it was the influence of her mother and aunt, both military women, that ultimately guided her path. At 21, Carlin enlisted in the U.S. Army and was stationed in South Korea, where her natural inclination toward combat and discipline truly began to shine. Other than that, she had won a number of mixed martial arts events. She was sent to Fort Meade in February 2014 to work with the 70th Military Intelligence Brigade and the 742nd Military Battalion, HOC. Due to her station, she had been to many places around the world and gained a lot of experience. She was kind and free-spirited no matter what. Carlin was the kind of person who always tried to get better. A better daughter, sister, worker, and person all around. Carlin looked like she had everything. Her family was there for her and gave her support, but she also wanted to start her own family. In February 2013, while he was stationed in South Korea, she met a guy named Sergeant Maliek Muley Kearney. He was 35 years old, specialized in chemical weapons, and was married with 5 kids. He was from San Antonio, Texas. Roxana, Carlin's sister, says that the couple fell passionately in love with each other. Susan, Carlin's mom, didn't think Malik was good enough for her daughter, and the fact that he already had kids made her feel a little bad. Carlin was happy with Malik though, so Susan chose not to worry about it. They began dating, and things moved quickly between them. In less than 6 months, Carlin told her family that she was pregnant. For Carlin, this was nothing less than a gift. Carlin had been identified with cervical cancer before, which made it unlikely that she would ever be a mother. Because Carlin is Carlin, her will to live and fight was greater than the disease, and she was fine soon after. Carlin was over the moon when she found out she was pregnant. She felt like this baby was a gift from God and would do everything she could to love it for as long as she lived. Carlin got engaged to Malik and started making plans for their wedding while she was still very hungry. But at that time, Carlin was at Fort Meade in Maryland, and Malik was at Fort Jackson in South Carolina. Malik asked to be stationed closer to where Carlin was, but he was turned down. At first, that was really hard for the couple. It was going to be hard to be pregnant, pay their bills, plan their wedding, and be there for each other, but they did it. After some time, in April 2015, Carlin and Malik had a healthy girl. They named her Katla Vale Kearney, or just Vale. Carlin knew right then that she was meant to be a mom. There was nothing Carlin loved more than Vale. Malik loved his family too, and he wanted to get married as soon as possible. So much so that they got married in July 2015, only 3 months after their daughter was born. The main reason they got married so quickly was because of a new Army rule that allowed a low-ranking officer and a high-ranking officer to get married. Carlin was a low-level officer, and Malik was a sergeant, so they had to make things legal so they wouldn't run into any problems later. After they got married, though, they were still stationed far apart. Carlin was living with Vale at the Lake Village townhomes in Severn, while Maliak was in South Carolina. Their position wasn't ideal, but they were making it work. Carlin was found dead in her own home just 5 weeks after she and Malik got married. Their lives came to a sudden halt. On August 25, 2015, a maintenance man was going from house to house doing his normal tasks as part of an everyday maintenance check. But when he got to Carlin's house, he saw that the back door was open. He called the police right away because he was suspicious. When the cops arrived a few minutes later, no one answered the door when they knocked. The house was very quiet. The cops had no choice but to search the house, so they did. The downstairs was clean, and there wasn't anything strange there except for the birth control pill in the kitchen trash can and its wrapper on the living room floor. There was still no sound coming from anywhere when the police went up the stairs to the main bedroom. When they finally opened the bedroom door, they saw a terrible scene. The body of a lady holding a newborn baby was found on the floor next to the smashed-up bed. Sadly, that woman was Carlin Ramirez, who was 24 years old and had died. She was holding her daughter, Vale, who was luckily not hurt. Carlin's chest was hurt in several places, and her clothes were pulled down to her legs from the waist. Besides that, she had defensive cuts like scratches and bruises on her arms, neck, and face, which showed that she had fought back during the attack. The cops quickly took the 5-month-old baby out of Carlin's arms and were glad to see that Vale was healthy, but it was clear that Carlin had been through a terrible event. It's possible that the person who did it forced himself on her before she died, which is even worse. What's so strange about this is that Carlin was, as we already knew, a very skilled woman in self-defense and martial arts. I find it hard to believe that someone was not only willing to do this, but also physically able to do it. The police turned the crime scene upside down to look for more proof and took Carlin's body in for an autopsy. They did find another tip though, a piece of the murder weapon. A single shell casing was found on the ground next to Carlin's body. The cops were able to figure out what kind of gun was used to kill her by analyzing it. It was a handgun with a capacity of .357. While that was going on, Carlin's autopsy reports came out, and they were both scary and shocking. The results showed that Carlin had been shot 3 times from close range. It looked like the bullets hit her in the front, which meant she was facing her killer. Carlin's autopsy revealed something unexpected. There were no signs of sexual assault. This made the case even more troubling, as it appeared the killer had staged the scene and positioned Carlin's body to falsely suggest a sex crime had occurred. The reality, however, was very different. Her sudden and brutal death devastated her family, and left them grappling with a haunting question. Why would someone violently target Carlin, a trained army officer capable of defending herself? Given her combat experience, many believed she would have had the skills to disarm an attacker. But her mother, Susan, suspected that Carlin's maternal instincts overrode her training. She believed Carlin may have surrendered or complied in order to protect her young daughter, Vale. Her sister Rosanna also recalled a disturbing moment from the night before the murder. Carlin had called her in a panic, clearly terrified, though she didn't say what had scared her. She was scared for her safety, and only wanted her child to know how much she loved her. It scared both Roxana and Susan that Carlin was freaking out, so they both reassured her that everything would be okay before hanging up. It was sad that this was Carlin's last call to her family. She was now gone. So did the crime really happen the way it seemed? Someone might have been using Vale to keep Carlin in line and kill her in the end. Was Carlin scared of someone? When Carlin is in her own home, why does she feel unsafe? Who did the wrong thing? The police had a lot of questions, but they had to begin somewhere. Police from Anne Arundel County and the Army said they would pay $20,000 for any information that helped them find the killer. While that was going on, the cops focused on people who might have wanted Carlin to leave. The first person that came to mind was her own husband, Malik. Once they found Malik, who was still in South Carolina on August 27th, they called him right away and told him to come to the police station. When the investigators told Malik that Carlin had died, he was naturally upset. Malik then said that the last time he saw or talked to Carlin was on August 1st, right before he left for South Carolina. The police checked Malik's alibi, his phone records, and camera footage. All of these things showed that Malik was at home when Carlin was attacked. Malik told the cops that he was at home by himself at the time of the attack. All of this was really strange. Who and why did this to Carlin? Well, some interesting information came out right after Carlin's body was found by the police. It came from Sergeant McDaniel, who was also Carlin's commanding officer and a fellow veteran of the Army. The first thing he told the police was that there were 2 people staying in the house at that time, Carlin and Marissa, who wasn't there. In fact, she was away on vacation when Carlin attacked. The detectives were most interested in the second thing he said. After that, Sergeant McDaniels told everyone that Carlin was seeing another soldier. Malik was hurt and angry that his wife had been cheating on him, so he told Carlin to tell the senior officer herself. That's how the sergeant found out about the affair in the first place. Also, Sergeant McDaniels told the police that Carlin had admitted that Malik had become more controlling and obsessed with her since the whole thing. At that point, it was only natural for his relationship with Carlin to get worse. He was always curious about where she was and became very angry when she talked to another guy. This behavior made Carlin ask for a divorce, and she also asked Malik to not contact her. Malik was determined not to leave Carlin, though. Both Marissa and the guy Carlin was seeing at the same time were called by the police. Their goal was to make sure that their stories were true and clear them if they weren't involved in Carlin's death. The cops caught Carlin's secret lover and learned that he was married as well. As a surprise, his DNA matched the one on the birth control that was found in Carlin's living room. He was very helpful, though. Besides that, the man said that he and Carlin kept seeing each other even after they were found. The man also said that he had met Carlin on August 23rd, which was 2 days before Carlin hurt herself. He admitted that the two of them had become personal, which supported what the police found in the house even more. The cops were interested in the man, but when they checked his phone and car, they found nothing wrong with him. This made the investigators even more confused. Obviously, Carlin's new boyfriend wasn't the one who killed her, and he didn't have a good reason to either since they were both downgraded after their affair was found out. Marissa's story also matched up, so she was not guilty. The officers had no choice but to begin their search all over again. That being said, the police did notice something very odd, and they chose to focus on Malik again. The agents were uneasy after hearing about Malik's behavior, the no-contact order, and everything that happened after Carlin's affair. They had a feeling that Malik was hiding something. Malik's phone records revealed something suspicious, an app capable of wiping the entire phone with a single tap. Having such an app was alarming on its own, but what really caught the police's attention was the date Malik had set for it to activate, from the night of August 24th to the morning of August 25th. This timing lined up eerily with the night of Carlin's attack, making the investigators certain something was amiss. Fortunately, they managed to recover the deleted data, which led them straight to the truth. It turned out Malik was furious with Carlin over an affair, feeling she didn't value him or their relationship, while he himself was secretly cheating on her. Besides that, the affair happened almost 8 years ago. One strange layer after another was being revealed by the cops. Carlin and Malik were both cheating on their partners, but it's funny how he basically pushed Carlin to tell everyone about her affair and get fired while he kept his affairs a secret. Not only that, but Malik also had an affair with a soldier of the army for 7 years. Her name was Dolores Delgado, and she lived in Florida. It's too bad that Dolores, the woman he had an on and off affair with for almost 7 years, would end up taking him down. When the police went to see Dolores in Florida, she told them all about her messy past with Malik right away. Dolores and Malik met while they were traveling abroad and began dating in secret. That being said, this affair was not at all normal. They would fight, break up, and get back together many times. During this time, both Dolores and Malik were seeing other people. Though they tried to avoid each other, they always ended up back together, and they decided to keep having an affair, which is crazy. Keeping other people in the dark while having this mess of an affair is very difficult, and it could have had terrible effects on many people's lives. It's just gross. Malik definitely cheated on Carlin when they were dating, while she was pregnant, when they got engaged, and of course, when they were married. The dates go all the way back to February 2008. Anyway, Dolores denied having anything to do with Carlin's attack and told police that she was with Malik at his house in South Carolina on August 24th. The detectives thought this was strange right away because Malik said he was home alone, who then told the lie. So that's what the cops did. They looked through Dolores's phone and found texts that the two of them had sent each other. In a text message sent a little less than a week before Carlin died, Maliak specifically talked about a gun and how loud it was. The cops were alerted right away. And when they looked at Dolores's Facebook page, they found a gold mine. It looks like Dolores was trying to sell a gun. To be exact, it was a .357 caliber handgun. So it looked like Dolores had the same kind of gun that was used on Carlin. Dolores owned the gun that killed Carlin even though she said she didn't know about it. Either it was a strange chance, or Dolores was hiding something. The two people, Malik and Dolores, did something strange while the cops were busy building a case against them. The two women, Malik and Dolores, chose to leave their homes in South Carolina and Florida and move in together in Texas. To prevent them from fleeing, the police quickly arrested both Malik and Dolores, even though the evidence against them wasn't very strong at the time. By October 2016, both were behind bars. A witness who saw the arrest revealed that Dolores had asked him to dispose of a gun around August 2015. According to the witness, the weapon had been dismantled and its serial number erased before being thrown off a fishing pier in Florida's Banana River. Thanks to the witness's help, police recovered the gun and all its parts. They now had the murder weapon in their possession. Dolores was also prepared to confess, which was a breakthrough for the investigation. She was reportedly upset that Malik was being treated like the grieving husband, spending time with Carlin's family, which made her feel uneasy. It seemed possible that she knew what Malik had really done. So Dolores told everyone what really happened on the terrible night of August 24th. And Dolores says that Malik asked her to come to his flat on August 24th. She swore over and over that she didn't know that Malik was planning to kill Carlin. Still, she gave Malik her car, gun, bullets, and even petrol for the trip from South Carolina to Maryland. That way, they wouldn't have to stop, so they wouldn't be caught on any CCTV cameras. Dolores then said that Malik told her to stay at his flat where he would leave his car and phone so that no one would think anything was wrong with him. As crazy as this plan was, Malik's reason for wanting Carlin out of the picture was even stranger. It turned out that Malik didn't want another guy to take care of his daughter, but he didn't want to split up with Carlin either. Malik is many things. What about reasonable and logical? That most certainly wasn't one of them. She said that she tried to stop Malik from killing Carlin, but he wouldn't listen. If you asked me, it's an interesting thing to talk about during an affair. Anyway, Malik broke into Carlin's house with his key in the morning of August 25th and threatened to shoot her if she didn't go to the bedroom. They got to the bedroom, and Carlin tried to fight him off with the gun. He shot her 3 times, killing her quickly and tragically. The next thing he did was disgusting. He set up the bedroom and Carlin's dead body to make it look like there was a sick reason for the crime. Following the completion of the task, Malik took Vale from her cot and placed her in the arms of her dead mother. He then left the back door open when he left. I don't understand why he put Vale in Carlin's arms. I have no idea what this could have added to the crime scene, and it's just cold-hearted, which may have been the point. We'll never really know, though. When Dolores told the police what she did, she pleaded guilty and agreed to testify against Malik in court as part of the deal she made with him. I bet he didn't see that coming. Malik was charged with traveling across state lines to kill his wife, Carlin, through domestic abuse, but he pleaded not guilty. Malik's hearing began in February 2018 and went on for 11 days. In their statements, Dolores and the prosecution said that Malik killed Carlin because he felt like he didn't have control over her, which was something Malik couldn't get over. Now we're in July 2018, and the jury has ruled. Malik Kearney was discovered to be guilty. He was later given a sentence of life in jail without the chance of parole plus an extra 10 years because he was accused of using a gun to commit the crime. Due to her involvement in the crime, Dolores was given 17 years in jail. During his trial for killing his wife, the mother of his child, Malik didn't show any feeling or regret. But when the sentence was given, it was a sad time for the Ramirez family. Not only had they lost Carlin, but Vale had also lost her mother. What made it even worse was that the baby may have seen what happened to her mother. In court, Susan, Carlin's mother, spoke out against the crime. She said, "My pain would probably give him a level of satisfaction. He doesn't deserve to be with us. He is a psycho who is cold, cruel, and well-planned." Everyone was sad at Carlin's funeral because she had so much life left to live. She was only 24 years old. She was happy to see Vale become a wonderful, smart, and pretty young woman. She would never get to experience that though. Rosanna, Carlin's sister, is sad that Carlin didn't get to do any of the things she wanted to do. Carlin had been so hopeful about becoming the best mom to Vale. This case truly breaks my heart. She was a tough, determined fighter who overcame incredible challenges, Yet her own husband caused her so much pain that he ended her life just to protect his own pride. People often believe marriages will last forever, but sometimes they end far too soon, usually when one person stops putting in the effort. In this case, it was both partners who gave up. But there's always a way to part ways with dignity and respect. It's heartbreaking that Malik wasn't willing to do that, while Carlin clearly was. Moving on to the next case. Kajira Fraze. 22-year-old Kajira Fraze is remembered by those closest to her as a loving, kind, and genuine person, someone who was a friend to everyone. At the time she went missing in February 2023, she was living with her parents in Moreno Valley, California, and was 8 months pregnant. Reports say she was happy and excited about the pregnancy, expecting a baby boy due on March 29th. While the identity of the father remains unclear, Kajira had planned to raise the child at her parents' home with their support. However, over a year later, the fate of Kajira and her unborn baby remains unknown. On February 23, 2023, Kajira spent the morning with her mother Kara. They visited the spa at their local gym and then ran errands, balancing appointments and shopping as Kajira prepared for her final month of pregnancy. After finishing up, Kajira wanted to visit her grandmother's house, but since Kara wasn't feeling well and couldn't drive, she called her husband for help. Things took an unexpected turn on the way to Kajira's grandmother's house when she became hungry and asked to stop for food. They pulled into a Jack-in-the-Box restaurant located at 89 Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California. Her mother recalled that Kajira got out of the car but didn't say much. It's unclear why she left the vehicle since they planned to use the drive-thru. Some reports suggest she stepped out to get some fresh air, while others say she became upset for reasons unknown. Kajira reportedly stood near the drive-thru window while her parents went inside to place their order. Kara explained, "My husband pulled forward and looked at her. She was still standing there. Then he backed the car up, paid for the food, pulled forward again, and she was gone. The last time we saw her was standing at the end of the drive-thru. She literally vanished within minutes." Confused by Kajira's behavior, her father exited the vehicle and started to look around, but there was no sign of her. Returning to the car, Kajira's parents began driving around the area searching for any trace of her, but there was nothing. It was like she'd vanished into thin air. Now alarmed for the 22-year-old's safety, Kajira's parents called the police and reported her missing. She was last seen at 10:39 p.m. on the night of February 23rd. She had taken her Bible but had left behind her handbag and possibly her phone. There is some mystery surrounding the whereabouts of Kajira's mobile phone, as her parents told police that it had been misplaced and they weren't sure of where it was when she went missing. However, Sarah Werner, an advocate for the 22-year-old's case, stated that one of the photos used on Kajira's missing posters, which featured the young woman in a black shawl with her hair pulled back, was reportedly taken on the night of her disappearance. It's unclear how anyone got a hold of it without the phone itself, but it could have been uploaded to an online storage account, social media, or even sent to a friend. Officer Mercedes Kashma of the Beaumont PD told the media that several ground searches were carried out to locate Kajira. He stated that they were done along Highway 79, and they involved officers on foot, drones, Sendocs, and helicopters. Authorities subsequently began circulating Kajira's photograph and details to clinics, hospitals, and shelters throughout several California counties and Nevada. According to investigators, surveillance footage from the night in question revealed that Kajira walked south away from the area of the Jack-in-the-Box and behind businesses in the same center as the food establishment. She was alone at the time. Her mother Kara told Dateline that she believes Kajira was suffering a medical emergency which prompted her to walk away, and added that she believes that her daughter was in a vulnerable state that allowed someone to take her off the street. Authorities have stated that, at this point, they see no signs of foul play and have no evidence indicating that Kajira was abducted. Since then, there has been little progress in the investigation, but in the past year, amateur investigators have focused on her family after Kajira's brother posted online, saying, "I know what happened, I damn sure won't explain that to you." This message, part of a longer comment, was reportedly aimed at Sarah Werner, the case advocate mentioned earlier, Kajira remains missing. She was last seen at the Jack in the Box restaurant at 89 Beaumont Avenue in Beaumont, California, at 10:39 p.m. on February 23, 2023. Kajira is described as a black woman with brown hair and brown eyes, standing about 5 feet 7 inches tall. At the time she disappeared, she was 8 months pregnant and weighed approximately 154 pounds. She was wearing a black shawl, a black hoodie, gray sweatpants, and black slip-on shoes. Anyone with information regarding Kajira's case is urged to contact the Beaumont Police Department at 9517698500. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed exploring these intriguing cold cases with me. If you found the video fascinating, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Cold Case Mystique for more deep dives into unsolved mysteries. Your support helps me bring you more compelling content. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or any cases you'd like me to cover next. See you in the next video, and remember, the search for truth never stops.